Well, this was not the video I was planning on releasing this week. I have a video all lined up, and in that video, I make a joke about really badly needing a haircut to, pointedly not address the real change that's happened on my face. Do you like it? Huh? I think I'm going to go with it for a while. But when you see that video, give Past Joe a polite chuckle because he had no idea that before this week was going to be out, that Kokoni Sota was going to take the world by storm with this absolutely amazing launch video for their new 3D printer. Now, this video, a lot of people are criticizing, a lot of people want to point out that one, it doesn't show the 3D printer very much. Two, the prints that it shows, and we can take a look at one of those right now. Look at that. No FFF 3D printer produced that print. That is just too good. There was either a lot of post-processing or it's just a different process entirely. And yes, those criticisms are absolutely fair, but that's not the point of this video. This video is not to answer your technical questions about the 3D printer. This video is to show you what it feels like to have a 3D printer and the cool tools that they're making available, like instant AI 3D modeling. Looks a lot like photogrammetry to me, but okay, they're saying that they can make models with AI. Again, I think it's photogrammetry. Photogrammetry is not AI. Photogrammetry is just an algorithm. Not even an algorithm. Well, actually, technically, never mind. It's not AI. But you see her waking up from her dream to explore her dreams. And let's rewind this for just 1 second, because we get to take a look at another 3D print here. And for a moment, and I mean, you saw it. It just flashed by. But this does look like a real 3D print. It's got supports. It's a single color. And I would not be surprised if people thought that this was a resin 3D printer because of the upside down. And that looks a lot like a resin print, but it's out of focus. So I'm not going to fault them too much for it. But then the next time we see it, it's full color painted, obviously. But yeah, that flash of the print as it comes off of the print bed and then not showing the post-processing of it might mislead people. But again, it's not about the technicals, it's about what it feels like to own a 3D printer. And this last one is a great example of this. Here we've got a dad who's trying to do camping for his bright-eyed little girl, but he's so bad at dadding that he lets her down. And he has a problem to solve, and he solves that problem by photo scanning a living animal. Okay, now we're going to talk about this for just 1 second. Multicolor, 7 simultaneous color 3D printing. Let's just put that in the back burner for 1 second as we let this video finish here. But he solves the problem, and all of a sudden he's a good dad again because he can do full color 3D printing, or 7 color 3D printing. Now that model, that 3D print right there, there's a lot of color bleeding going on. There's a lot more than 7 distinct colors in that. Maybe it's just the focus, but I don't know. I'm not sure I'm buying it. That definitely was not made from the photo scan of a butterfly. That's just not going to happen. But okay, so this video is making a lot of promises, and they are promises that I'm not entirely sure that the technology can cash. You know what I'm saying? The marketing is writing checks that the technology won't be able to cash. Let's go back and take a look at some of these promises that they're making and the ones that they're not making, actually. So one promise that I noticed that they weren't making, when I come to this part here where he pulls out the 3D print, notice the size of the 3D print. He wraps his hand entirely around it. That is not a big 3D print. They're not promising that this 3D printer can do bigger things than it can do. They're showing, it looks to me like a 10 centimeter cube 3D printer. So, okay, fair, they're being nice there. But again, the 3D prints that they're coming up with are much better than any 3D printer could do. But they do talk about this upside down 3D printing. They don't talk about it very much, but they point out that it does print upside down and that makes it fast and stable. Now, this is not the first 3D printer to print upside down. The first one that I saw was the Positron, an open source project that was made. And a lot of people are wondering, are they taking the Positron's open source designs and just using that? But Kokoni has responded in messages and said that they're not, that they've created something entirely distinct so that they don't have to release their design open source. And I'm going to take them at their word, but the upside down printing has an interesting factor that the filament comes into the hot block one direction and the nozzle points another direction. In other words, the filament is making a 90-degree turn. Now let's add to that conversation the idea of their 7-color multicolor 3D printing. If you are pushing multiple filaments out of the same nozzle, you're pulling one out and putting another one in, there's always a little bit of the old filament left in there. That is why multi-print processes have to do a purge, and oftentimes that purge is considerable. Now, with the Bambu Labs AMS or the Prusa MMS, both of those purge by using gravity. They put it off to the side and they just squirt it out, or they make a purge block, and those purge blocks can be huge. The more colors you do, the bigger those purge blocks get. But this is a small 3D printer, 100 by 100 by 100. So where is that purge block going to go? It's going to take up half of the build volume, especially since by doing it upside down, they no longer can use like a poop chute on the bamboo and just squirt it out the back and let it fall away. They have to put it on the purge block. So, dang. Now, I have seen 3D printers that can do color changes extremely rapidly, especially like black to white, white to black, black to white, which are the two hardest to change, because the black will pollute the white for the longest time if there's any amount of it in the nozzle. But these printers are able to change quickly, and I don't know what voodoo they're using, but they're using a straight filament path. They're not turning the filament 90 degrees. And I can't help but think that in turning the filament 90 degrees, that you're going to have more purge necessary to get a clean purge so that you're printing clean color. So I feel like printing upside down is going to work against Kokoni here trying to make a 7-color process. But I don't know. I'm willing to be proven wrong on this point, but I am more than a little bit concerned about this. Okay, so am I going to deduct the video points for not showing the 3D printer, or am I going to give it any points for at least showing the printer some? I'm going to say that this video is a wash, that it's neither good nor bad, that it's doing what it intends to do, which is, well, okay, let's be honest. This video is not meant for you. If you already have a 3D printer, it's especially not meant for you. If you don't have a 3D printer, that's who this video is kind of targeted for, to give you the feeling of what it's like to have a 3D printer, to get you excited for the possibilities, regardless of the reality. This video is also for investors, and Kokoni has done many other videos that you can look at them and go, oh yeah, this video has one purpose and one purpose only, and that is to make investors' wallets open up like a flower in the morning. So yes, they are going for investors. They are going for first-time users. And if you're a first-time user of 3D printers, there's a lot to like about this one. App-driven 3D printing is very powerful. And we've seen it before, and it's worked. I really, really like the Toybox 3D printer. It's app-driven. They've got a library of prints on it, and it's fantastic. And quite frankly, if you look at this printer and like it and think, man, it does what I want, look at the Toybox first, because it's out. It's ready. You can get one right now, and you don't have to wait on a Kickstarter that may or may not deliver on all of its promises. But we've also seen this go bad, very bad. And is this going to go bad or is it going to go good? Well, the biggest question that I have about this one is their app. They talk about AI 3D modeling, and here's the thing. This isn't the first time that they've talked about this. This is actually Kokoni's second 3D printer. Their first one was a little bit more traditional, right side up 3D printing, but it also had the app, and you know what that means. That means that if you dig just a little bit. Now, I want to go into the discussion page of their previous Kickstarter. The first couple, there are a couple of people who are like, I don't have my printer yet, and that's going to happen. But then there are a lot of people who are like, I got my printer, it works, I got my printer, I had some problems, they made it work, and now it works. So there's actually a lot of success stories on here. So they actually delivered on this 3D printer, but it was a $200 promised 3D printer, and they sold it to 315 backers. That's not a whole lot. It's not bad, but it's not a whole lot. It was what I would consider a mild success. Granted, my Kickstarters don't do much better than that, but never mind. The thing is, for selling a cheap 3D printer, this is like middling. It's okay, but it's not great. But like I said, their app is something that I was curious about, and if you dig into that campaign, you can find that their app is actually available, and you can download it, put it on your phone, and try it out right now. Now, you can't connect it to a printer unless you have one of their printers, but otherwise, it's functional. It's here. It's good to go. And let's explore it a little bit. Under the Create button, they have that 3D modeling avatar, which if you click on it, you upload a single photo of your face looking forward, and they turn that into a 3D model. Now, I have already done this, so I'm just going to go ahead and load up the 3D model that I did before. Now, I will point out that when I loaded this model in, it was actually squashed out. I was very wide. But they have scale tools down there, and it enabled me to scale it thinner. But take a look at this. It looks somewhat like me until you start zooming way in. Notice that the hair, this is not my beautiful hair. And the glasses are just kind of squished onto my face. And while this doesn't allow me to examine the geometry directly or allow me to download it to examine the geometry, I can say for sure that there is no additional geometry for that beard. That is just my brand new beard plastered onto a skin face. What happened here? Now, what I think is interesting is that it noticed that in the picture that I took that I was wearing a coat and a shirt, and it turned those into geometry, but it couldn't do the beard? That is something else. That is wild. What happened here? I think what happens is they take your front-facing picture and they have a generic 3D model, and they find the eyes, they make the 3D model's eyes go to your eyes, and they find the nose, they make the 3D model's nose fit your nose, and they fit a 3D model to your face. But if you have, hair that's of a particular style or facial hair, they don't take any of that into account. And also, those are not my ears. This is interesting, to be sure, and honestly, a lot disappointing. This only looks like me with this picture of me plastered onto it. Take that away, I guarantee you it won't look much like me. However, they also have the 3D scanning feature, AI object modeling, and when you pull it up right now, they're saying this is brand new, this is still in beta, and you have to be very careful when using it, because if you do it wrong, it will not work. And they're very careful to explain a lot of things to you. And they say upload at least 25 images. Well, I took a dinosaur toy with my kids, and I took 52 models from it, and let me try and, how am I going to upload these? Boy, I guess this feature really is in beta. Yeah, you can't actually upload models. Now, I will give them the benefit of the doubt and say it is possible to do this. And let me show you. I have done this. Here's those 52 pictures that I took of a dinosaur toy, and I just went around it in my messy room and took pictures of it from every direction. You can see I went all the way around it multiple times, and it was able to reconstruct it into a pretty decent 3D model. Now, it also took the ground around it, and so they're going to have some tools for trimming and preparing the models, or maybe that's where the AI comes in. It says, oh, clearly this is the model that you wanted to keep, or something. I don't know. But yes, it is already possible to do this, so I can't fault them for going pie in the sky on this one and wanting to try something new. But overall, the feature set that they're providing isn't impossible. It's possible. So where are we at this point? Well, I'm a little bit questioning about the 7-color 3D printing. I'm really concerned about the purging of the nozzle. I'm really, really concerned about the purging of the nozzle with a 90-degree turn in there. I would like to see that feature fixed. I would like to see that feature proven. I would like to see some prints come out of their printer that use that feature. Until I do, I'm going to hold off reservations on that one. But if we're talking about an upside down, small 3D printer that prints really fast, yeah, there's a lot of good features on that. And that's app driven. Just that, putting aside the 7-color 3D printing, at this point, right now in the discussion, I would say what? $250, $300 for that? Just for that. If you add to it the 7-color 3D printing, and it actually works, I would say that might be worth $500 in the total budget. Again, this is a very small 3D printer, but I need to see it working before I would be excited for it. So if it launches at those prices, at this point, I would go, yeah, okay. But then there's something else to consider. Let's pull up their app again. They have with their app a library of 3D models that you can download. Models that they've got ready to go, presumably that they've tested with their 3D printer, and that look kind of familiar if you look at them. Have you guys ever seen this model before? You click on it. They call it the moving excavator, and they say that they created it. Look at that right there. That's where's the number? Right there. They say that they created it. Did they create it? No. No, they did not. This is created by the amazing HP, who does incredible print-in-place models. These models are designed so that they print without supports, but then when you pull them off the build plate, they articulate and move. And this guy has been an inspiration more than once. No, Kokoni, you did not create this model. This forklift, this is also one of his. It's not coming up right now, but they've also got his dump truck on there. In fact, if we explore more model options, I'm pretty sure we're going to see a lot more of his models on here. And I wonder, yeah, this soul harvester? Come on. They renamed it, but it's not his. And it makes me wonder if they made any of these models. I'm pretty sure I've seen this FIFA World Cup on there by somebody else. Oh, there's the dump truck. Yep, like I said, I knew that they took the dump truck. Nimble pink pig. It's loading a little bit. This, come on. That astronaut right there, upright astronaut. Come on. We've all seen this model. We know that they didn't make this one, but they're taking other artists' work and putting their names on it, and that is not cool at all. I dug down a little bit further, and I was able to find the flexible work, particularly this eagle right here. And this was created by Andres MF. It's a great design, and yeah, they absolutely should not be putting their name on it. They also have this transformable Optimus Prime. Now, this one is another amazing print. It prints all in one piece. It prints on the build plate, and the parts just articulate afterwards. But I'm not sure that this one was designed to print on a 100 by 100 by 100 print bed. So, like, did they even test these prints on their printer before they put them on their app and told people that they would be able to provide them? Let's go back real fast. Let's see. Shark clips. Oh yeah, I know that they didn't make those. That is not their design, but I'll bet you if I click on it, they're going to say that they made it. All right. This changes things. Now, before I fully commit to what I'm going to say, let me explain why. If a designer makes something and puts it, well, if a designer makes something, they have two options. They can either share it with the world or not. And if they share it with the world, that does not mean that they are giving everyone carte blanche to take it and treat it like they made it. They still retain the right to control who copies it. Most countries in the world, follow a similar set of rules in regards to creators' copyrights. This is because if it weren't for this fact, you couldn't release anything without somebody stealing it. The moment you put a movie out in the movie theater, somebody with a cell phone camera can steal that movie and sell it if it were not for the rights of creators to control who copies it. Now, people who produce these models and put them out there for other people to check out oftentimes communicate the intent that they put it out there for. If they want people to just have carte blanche, they will say, I want them to have carte blanche. If they say, hey, I want you to share it with people, but make sure that you keep track of who made it and give me credit for doing it. Oftentimes, that's all that designers are asking for, just a little bit of credit. And as long as you respect that, as long as you say, okay, you ask for credit, I'll make sure you get credit. Now, does that mean that you need to go crazy and you need to put a little tag on every 3D print about who created it? I don't think that is. That's definitely not the intent of this model creator. But especially in this case, if you're going to take these models and use it to populate and use it to create value for your 3D printing app, the least you can do, the absolute least you can do, is credit the original designer, and you should probably link back to where you got the model so that if people go, hey, this is pretty cool, where can I get more of them, they have a trail to follow back to the original designer. But they're not doing that. They're pretending like they made it because they thought that, hey, it's out there for free, so we can do whatever we want with it. No, you can't. And when individuals don't respect, designer rights, I'm like, but when a whole company does not respect designer rights, do not back this printer until Kokoni has straightened out their game, until they have addressed this. And they might. I have already reached out to them and I've said, hey guys, this isn't cool. You need to change this. I'm making this video to let you all know that that's what I told them. And to maybe, if they have any questions, just say, hey, this is why this is wrong. Don't do it. And hopefully they will address this quickly. But I should point out, this is their second 3D printer. They've had a long time to already address this, and they haven't. Maybe they just haven't thought about it. Maybe nobody's brought it up to them until now. I know for sure that a lot of these designers who I reached out to and said, hey, did they contact you about this, had no idea. Kokoni managed to fly under the radar until now. Well, guess what? You've blipped on our radar, guys, so now you need to fix it. And they might. They could do the right thing, and if they do the right thing, well, I will definitely reconsider looking at this 3D printer. But for now, I'm going to say don't back this printer until they've proven that they want to do the right thing. Let's see how this works out. Let's see how it all pans out. But for now, hold off your excitement on this printer until this company has had a chance to do the right thing. Well, that's all for this one. I hope that you guys have enjoyed this evaluation of this, and I hope that it enables you to, when future campaigns show up, to look at it a little bit critically and go, Maybe they actually have something here. Here's who they were targeting. I can see all of that. And it can enable us all to be a little bit more savvy in what printers we support and don't. But that's it for today. I want to thank you very much for watching. Remember, you are a child of God, and that makes you special. So take care of yourself and, if you can, someone else. And I'll see you next time.